Go.
Okay. Today is August the 8th in the year 2008. Yes, it's the start of the Olympic Games in China, and as a lot of you are already familiar with Brian's videos, it's also the name Jesus, with a Greek gematria of 888. Okay. Now we come to the beast, 666. It has to do with Babylon in ancient times at the time of Daniel. They all regarded the sun to be all-powerful and above Yahweh, and was numbered 666. The modern beast, 666, is commerce, and it's based on the banker's control of the straw man that I'll explain to you shortly. Now we switch over to London on this day, 888, because London is today's Babylon. It's necessary to know the sunrise and the sunset for a sunlight period of 895 minutes, which in Hebrew happens to mean Babylon. And then when we go to the Greek concordance, we see that it means lifeless, inanimate, without life, bottom line, dead. Okay, now what is the straw man that comes from this Babylonian law? I'm going to read from some documents that have been put together to provide simple explanations. A lot of you have already heard about the straw man. There's been a lot of information revealed in the last years and months in particular, and can be found in various places on the internet. But for the purposes of Brian's videos today and tying in with scripture, let's see where it takes us. Okay, speaking to citizens of the USA, I'm Australian, as you can guess. When you turned in your gold, you volunteered to be citizens of the jurisdiction of the 10-mile square of Washington, D.C. and their laws. You became the 14th Amendment citizens. Your birth certificates became the title to your bodies, and they were registered at the Department of Commercial. The title to your bodies and all of your property and all of your future labour was pledged to the international bankers as security for the money owed in bankruptcy. Who was bankrupt? You weren't. It was actually the corporation of the United States. We'll go there later. Now all of that was done under the authority of commercial law, and in brackets, Babylonian law, by and through title. The American people, what I said, you're not in bankruptcy, only the corporate United States was and still are in bankruptcy. But with the US corporation holding the title to your body and life, you could be used for collateral to secure the national debt through the birth certificate, given by parents voluntarily to be entered into the commercial registry. This act in commerce gave title to your body by way of a constructive contract. It all sounds a little bit confusing, but it's really quite simple. Actually, as Brian says, it's macabre, but it's simple. Okay, bottom line, the government then created an artificial person in your name, a corporation, a fictitious entity to take its place in a virtual reality of contract law and corporations. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? By and through an adhesion contract, the government then made you, the real man or woman, responsible for that fictional entity, a fiduciary and surety for a fictional entity. Okay, let's cut to the chase. You adhered to a contract offer because you thought or acted as though you were the receiver of the offer. In doing so, you were presumed to have accepted the contract. All licenses and all existing contracts are made between the United States or the state, or that's whatever state you live in, and your artificial entity. That fictitious entity binds you to the United States, and it made you the real man or woman fiduciary and responsible for the fictitious or artificial entity. Okay, now, nobody knew anything of this, certainly not as a baby when you were born, and your parents had no idea because they've just by now accepted it as all part of the system and the world that we live in. And bottom line, deceived. what does it all mean? What it all means is that we the people, as flesh and blood, and that includes Australia and probably every other nation that in the Western world, definitely in the Western world, we're all dead to the system. An artificial entity labelled the straw man has been created to operate in the public arena of commercial enterprise, which is Babylonian law. What does that mean today? It means today that we can't buy or sell unless we are part of the system, and that brings us down to the system of the beast. I'm just going to read a particular statement here because the Christ is really ticked off that his wife, who is all of mankind, and as you already probably understand, that the souls of all men and women are female. So as mankind, we are the wife of the Christ. So what's happened to Christ's wife? Because Christ is here, and the wife, to this point, has rejected him. Doesn't even recognise her husband. Why? I'll tell you why. One simple little statement here. Because of the straw man and because of our birth certificate and bottom line, we're dead and treated as chattels by the system, this is what it all means. Okay. In 1964, the state obtained title to all private property. You can only rent homes that you believe you owe by paying taxes. You only have a certificate of title to the car that you think that you own, and you continue to drive it because of your yearly fee. That would be registration, licensing, or whatever you have to pay every year to drive your car. The state owns the true title to your homes, cars, and everything that you thought you owned, and here it comes. You married the state through your marriage license, and your children became wards of the state. All of this was a pledge including all the fruits of your future labour and your children's labour to the bankers as security against the national debt, and was placed in the possession of the Secretary of State of each state as an agent for the trustee of the bankruptcy, the US Secretary of Treasury. Okay, bottom line, not knowing the rules of the game, you went directly to jail. You could not pass go, and you could not collect 200. Okay, reiterating, you married the state through your marriage license. Therein is the key. We're all married to the state, which is the beast, and not the Christ, who represents freedom. And he's pretty well ticked off about it. Okay. It's all a very complex system, but you're all familiar with today's system of buying and selling, and on the screen you've got the anatomy of a barcode as it breaks down and explains what a barcode actually means. You can Google search this yourself, barcode 666, and arrive at this site. There's a great deal of discussion that goes on and evidence that's put forward to explain the barcode and how it ties in with the system of the beast, which is 666. Brian's just demonstrated here really quite simply. You've got 3 guard bars, one on the right and the left and one in the middle, and those 2 bars, they mean a 6. It's not evident, however, it's known, and when it's scanned, it means 666. So it's hidden in barcodes, which then explain all other areas of buying and selling to do with the manufacturer and where it came from and dates and all that kind of stuff that you're already probably familiar with. Okay, now if we go to, let's go to the scriptures in Daniel. Let's move to the scriptures in Daniel, because Daniel had a pretty clear vision then of what he saw for these times now.